This chart has been the bane of my existence since it was posted, and that was 15 hours ago, according to Reddit. This comes from Reddit's Data is Beautiful subreddit, and it's been a big hit over there because not only is it the #1 post on Data is Beautiful for the last 24 hours, it also made the front page of Reddit as well, so a lot of people are seeing it, a lot of people are talking about it, and it's getting a lot of traction. Unfortunately, I don't think it really does a good job of showing off Nintendo's sales data. One of my biggest gripes comes from the fact that hardware and software are crammed together into just one bar. I don't understand why that was done, and it doesn't exactly make the data easy to read. Why not make two charts, one for software and one for hardware, if that's what you want to show? I mean, every piece of hardware has sold under 200 million units, so that makes the whole rest of the chart pointless for hardware. I understand for software, because software definitely reaches high and you get a better idea there, but with hardware, with everything being under 200, you have a lot more guessing to do when it comes to numbers. Yes, you can look at the 0 to 200 and kind of gauge something, but if you had a chart that was just 0 to 200 or 0 to 150 and you could spread out the lines a little bit more, then it would make a bit more sense, but now you're working in just one tiny portion of the chart to try and figure out how much did the DS sell, how much did the Game Boy sell. For example, look at the Wii and the Game Boy sections for hardware. What did those systems sell? I mean, those lines are pretty close. It's tough to gauge. Like, they almost, to some, might look like they're equal at first. There's a slight difference there. But that difference in comparison shows off 18 million in sales. So the Wii sold roughly 101 million units, and the Game Boy sold roughly 118 million units. So you're looking at roughly 18 million units of difference in there, and it's just a tiny little mark on the chart. So again, like I said, makes it difficult to gauge. Another thing that irks me about the chart is the fact that there's no reference to how long these systems were supported for or how long they were manufactured for. I think that's important. Systems like the Game Boy and the DS and the Wii were manufactured for quite a long time and received software support for a long time. I mean, look at the Wii. The Wii is still getting software to this day, and the DS isn't. I think those are important things to note. Now, I know it's a little hard to interpret that as far as data on a bar graph goes, but there should be blurbs underneath that let you know, like, how long each system was manufactured for and how long they're getting software support. Because yes, look at the Wii U. The Wii U did not sell well, we all know that, but it is still getting software, at least in terms of eShop support, so I think those are important details to know. Much lower down on my list of gripes is the fact that portables and consoles are combined on the same chart. I understand why. It's all hardware that Nintendo manufactured, but it's not exactly fair to show all of those on the same chart. Why not show a chart of the portables and how they compare to each other, or the consoles and how they compare to each other? You know, it's different markets, different type of consumers, and obviously they differ quite a bit. So, you know, again, not a big complaint, but something I think would have been nice to see. Now, my biggest complaint might not even come from the chart itself, although the way the chart is laid out leads into this conversation, but it also shows a fault with some of the people that are reading the chart. But your average person on Reddit who's browsing through this stuff and sees this on the front page, they click it and they're like, oh my god, look at this, why is Nintendo doing so bad? Or, look at the Switch, what happened? I thought the Switch was doing well. Or they don't even know what's going on with the Switch and they're just like, yep, Nintendo system's bombing again. And that's that. They don't take time to look into all the details of how the chart is put together. Now, I can't blame the chart maker for that because, you know, people need to read the information. But, like I've said, there could be data that's better represented. So I have friends and family members. I had one family member in particular reach out to me to show me this chart, and they were like, what's going on? Why is the Switch doing so bad? And that's because, you know, they saw the chart, they saw where the lines fall, and they're like, oh my god, look at how small that line is for the Switch. So I talked to them and I was like, how many units do you think the Switch has sold so far? And they underestimated it by over 6 million. So that goes to show how this data is gonna misconstrue some things. But again, you know, part of that fault is with the person looking at the chart. You could give everybody all the data in the world and they're not going to get things right, or they're going to take away whatever. But at quick glance, it seems like that's what some people are getting, which is why I'm hearing about it so much from people. And that dovetails into the point I was making earlier, where I think it would be nice to have information on lifespan of the system. So you can have a little tick mark for Switch that says 7 months, and then, you know, tick marks for all the other systems. And you're like, oh, I get it. The Switch isn't that old. So then you could be like, oh, so the Switch really isn't doing bad at all when you compare it to the Wii U line or the 3DS line. You see, oh, things are moving along pretty well compared to how long the system's been out. So, you know, that's just what I was trying to say with that point earlier. Lastly, the point that I have to stress, because I know I'm going to hear it, is I do not get upset when I see data that makes Nintendo look bad. I'm all about the facts for when it comes to Nintendo sales, so I just would like more data. I fully recognize the Wii U was a failure. I loved the Wii U, but I do understand that not a lot of people bought it, people didn't even know what it was, stuff like that. So, you know, more information with the chart I feel would be good. I would like for there to be information out there that accurately displays the full picture to people. Now, making a chart like that might be difficult. I don't make charts, but I'm saying this chart in general I feel doesn't do enough to really convey what's going on with Nintendo and their hardware. So that's my grumpy video about a chart that doesn't really matter, and something that no one's going to care about in a while, but like I said, I've been hearing about it a lot, and been getting texts and emails and stuff like that, so I thought I'd put something together on it. Let me know what you think of the chart. I want to see if you came across it on your own, if you've heard about it from others, or if you saw it and were like shocked by what you saw, or if you saw it and were like, I don't think this is really showing off the data in the way it could best be shown. So leave me a comment and let me know, and I will catch you in the next video.